Everyone has a voice, but too many fail to speak. Too many don't know the foundation of our nation, have never read the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, or the Articles of Confederation, and fail to end up in a voting booth. It's time for change. Welcome to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin, a platform for young America to voice their ideals and have meaningful dialogue on politics, economics, and social issues. Connect at thevoyatampabay.weebly.com. Now, the host of the Voice of Young America, Justin Austin.
In the absence of appropriations, the White House is involved in an orderly phase-down. All non-essential personnel have been furloughed. No one is here to answer your call.
Welcome. You're listening to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. Well, let's get right into it. We're talking today about the government shutdown. What is a government shutdown and what are we currently going through? Well, the House of Representatives passed an appropriations bill to fund the government. The Senate didn't pass the bill due to the filibuster, which is a vote blocking mechanism. There were 60 votes that were needed to cover the filibuster, but they didn't have it until they got Democratic support. This happens a lot. Sad to say, it happens way too often. If you go back in history, I think it started back, 70s. Since the 70s till today, there's been many shutdowns. The ones that have counted are very few. So the government passes an appropriations bill for a certain length of time. I think it's up to a year, usually what it is. When that bill expires, another bill must be passed to fund the government. Now, how does this shutdown happen? Once the funds expire, some government agencies must shut down. The necessary agencies continue to function, but at necessity-only levels. What are the effects? The non-essential agencies are closed, also parks, museums, and the like. The real effects only occur if the shutdown surpasses a certain length of time. So what takes place is basically there's so much money in each agency's purse. Once those funds run out and they do not get replenished, of course, there's emergency funds and things of that nature. They have a reserve and whatnot, but certain agencies, regardless of reserve, must shut down. And other agencies, such as the Supreme Court, they must function even if the government doesn't put more money into their coffers. Why are we shutting down? We had and will continue to have shutdowns over partisanship. The partisanship in this shutdown is over immigration, the border wall, and DACA. The funding of the American government was denied by Democrats due to provide protection for unlawful residents. Dreamers are considered unlawful residents until the law deems them legal residents. And we have to understand that. And now, of course, it's within the power of the government to but to legislate legalization for these dreamers. But until that happens, well, we'll be facing what we face today. And we have to understand what partisanship really is. Partisanship is basically you choosing the principles of the party over the country. I mean, people like to say that they're just, what's the best way to put it? People like to believe that they're doing what's best for our country, that their angle is what's best for the country. And I do believe that, and a lot of people, they do believe that what they're fighting for on their side, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or whatever the case may be, that they're fighting for the betterment of America. But what tends to happen is that this partisanship grows beyond what's best for America and what's best for their party. The president of the United States is the president of Republicans, Democrats, and Libertarians. And that's what we must understand. Regardless of what party we side with, that everything must lead to the betterment of the country. Political partisanship is nothing new. From the founding of America to today, there's always been partisanship. And the effects of partisanship, as long as partisanship isn't moderated, isn't balanced, then the effects will be detrimental to the country. And I'm not the only one who holds this views, many people, but I want to go back to George Washington. In his farewell address in 1796, he wanted to discuss this particular point, this particular view of partisanship and its effects. So I'm just going to read a passage from his farewell address. I have already intimated to you the danger of parties in the state, with particular reference to the founding of them on geographical discriminations. Now, what he was talking about is North and South, you know, those abolitionists and those who were for slavery. And there was many other things that they disagreed on based on their geographical location. Let me now take a more comprehensive view and warn you in the most solemn manner against the baneful effects of the spirit of party generally. This spirit, unfortunately, is inseparable from our nature, having its root in the strongest passions of the human mind. It exists under different shapes in all governments, more or less stifled, controlled, or repressed. But in those of popular form, it is seen in its greatest rankness and is truly their worst enemy. Whoa, the popular form being democracies. And he's saying that in these democracies, it's shown that, well, even if you look at fascist societies, socialist societies, it's there too. But in these popular forms of government, partisanship is out of control, and the fact that it becomes so damaging. To continue, the alternate domination of one party over another, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, natural to party dissension, which in different ages and countries has perpetrated the most horrid enormities, is itself a frightful despotism. But this leads at length to a more formal and permanent despotism. The disorders and miseries which result gradually incline the minds of men to seek security and repose and the absolute power of an individual. And sooner or later, the chief of some prevailing faction, more able or more fortunate than his competitors, turns this disposition to the purposes of his own elevation on the ruins of public liberty. Now, just the take from that passage, people become so divided that they seek an ultimate leader almost, and to make sure that whatever their party platform is, that guy represents that party platform so much that they want him to be leader. And once this guy becomes leader, he actually pushes the people way left or way right. This is what tyranny comes about. When we have so much division, tyranny creeps in. To continue, without looking forward to an extremity of this kind, which nevertheless ought not to be entirely out of sight, the common and continual mischiefs of the spirit of party are sufficient to make it in the interest and the duty of a wise people to discourage and restrain it. Even though we know that parties can be helpful, they can be fruitful to making things happen. Because if we look at a partisanship or factionism, that's how we ended slavery. That's how we ended discrimination to a certain degree. That's how we prevented so many things, because we did have partisanship. We did have factionism. They have brought about great things. We cannot take that away from them. To continue, it serves always to distract the public councils and enfeeble the public administration. Wow. To distract the public councils. Now, if you turn on the news right now, and I don't care what station you turn to, you're going to get one side of the argument. And it's going to start to distract what the conversation really is. Turn on the news right now. Are they talking about things that matter, or all they talking about is Trump, 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 Trump? Not to say that Trump doesn't matter, but isn't America more than just what the president says, or what kind of drama that the media is stirring up? They force feed. Like yesterday, I watched MSNBC, Fox News, I watched CNN, I watched Fox Business News, I watched Squawk on the Street, and all these other programs and stations. And even though they probably spent like maybe 30 seconds to a minute talking about other stories, their main headlines was the FBI and Trump and this, Trump and that. And it's like, yes, Trump matters, but isn't it more to our country? Aren't there other issues that we need to be enlightened on? But partisanship distracts the public councils. Once again, this is George Washington. It's not even me. He's talking about in 1796, and this stuff is still going on in 2018. It agitates the community with ill-founded jealousies and false alarms. kindles the animosity of one part against another, foments occasionally riot and insurrection. What are they preaching? They're preaching animosity. They're preaching riot and insurrection. They're preaching jealousy and encouraging false alarms. It opens the door to foreign influence and corruption, which find a facilitated access to the government itself through the channels of party passions. Thus, the policy and the will of one country are subjected to the policy and will of another. And once again, what are the Democrats trying to say? The Russia probe. They're saying that, Trump and his people and his campaign and his party, they wanted to win so bad. They wanted to push their agenda so much that they were willing to do things that were suspect, I guess you can say. There's an opinion that parties in free countries are useful checks upon the administration of the government and serve to keep alive the spirit of liberty. This within certain limits is probably true, and in governments of monarchical caste, patriotism may look with indulgence, for if not with favor, upon the spirit of party. But in those of the popular character, in government purely elective, it is a spirit not to be encouraged. From their natural tendency, it is certain there will always be enough of that spirit for every salutary purpose. And there being constant danger of excess, the effort ought to be by force of public opinion to mitigate and assuage it. A fire not to be quenched, it demands a uniform vigilance to prevent its bursting into a flame, lest instead of warming, it should consume. Partisanship hurts America, doesn't help America. Why? Because we have allowed the mass media and our politicians to take it to the extreme. The government shutdown was not about DACA. The government shutdown wasn't about the wall. The government shutdown wasn't about appropriation of the funds. The government shutdown was about partisanship. These people are leading you astray because they're not representing principles. They're representing division. You're listening to the voice of young America. We are here to block out that noise. We are here to deliver nothing but the truth. I don't want you to be a Republican. I don't want you to be a Democrat. I want you to be an American. We'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in to the Voice of Young America. I'm Justin Austin. I'm Justin Austin, host of The Voice of Young America. When it comes to complete auto repair and fast service, check out the pros at Autoland Center, 1308 East Bush Boulevard in Tampa, providing professional quality work on all American-made and foreign car models. Great pricing on complete auto repair services, oil changes, and brakes. Autoland Center at 1308 East Bush Boulevard, where experience and good service go a long way. Call 813-764-7891. That's 813-764-7891. Autoland Center.
The voice of young America relies on committed Americans like you to stand with us. If you're frustrated with the lack of real information being delivered to the next generation, then support Justin's efforts. Connect on social media, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com, facebook.com/The Voice of Young America. The Voice of Young America. To inform with truth and broadcast collectively and respectively the diverse ideals of young America.
Finding skilled and unskilled tradesmen can be a problem, whether it's temporary or long-term. Rose Employment Solutions handles all of your workers' comp needs while responsibly solving your staffing problems. You make the call, they do it all. 813-644-5037. And for the quality tradesmen in search of career growth, full-time hours, and multiple pay options, call Rose Employment Solutions, 813-644-5037. Learn more at rose-emp.com or just stop by their office, 1020 West Bush Boulevard in Tampa.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin at facebook.com/The Voice of Young America.
Welcome back to the Voice of Young America. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. Check us out, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com, and on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at The Voya Tampa Bay. We're going to get into the moment of truth. And first of all, let's talk about what truth is. Truth is the conformity to reality. So it's no such thing as your truth or my truth. Truth is truth. So the truth that we're talking about today is that the only president that we've ever had that had no ambition was George Washington. This guy was compelled by his country's position and by those around him to become president. He did not want to become president for a second term. If we look at what it says in the Plato's Republic, he states that the politician should not be a man of ambition. The politician should be a man so compelled by the situation, and that the only reason he steps up because he would be fearful of a lesser man filling those shoes. And that's what George Washington was. He was a guy with no ambition, but knew that if he did not take the step to become president and unify the country would be divided because of what? Partisanship. Those who sought office were those who were trying to represent party. George Washington was the man who had no party. He was the man who took the time through his character, through his faith, to unify our country. Let's get into our next segment, immigration. What does the Constitution say on immigration? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 states to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws in the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. This is in reference to the powers vested to the Congress. Amendment 14, Section 1 states all persons born or naturalized in the U.S. and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the U.S., nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. But what are the current laws in place? Immigration to the United States is based upon these following principles: the reunification of families, admitting immigrants with skills that are valuable to the U.S. economy, protecting refugees, and promoting diversity. Those are quite vague if you actually look at it. But let's get into what the real issue on immigration is right now. What's the issue they said that prevented the government from allocating funds last weekend? And this is called DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which was launched in 2012 through executive action by President Obama. It provides 4 years of deportation relief and work visas to qualified immigrants brought to the United States illegally before their 16th birthday. Another thing to consider is DAPA, Deferred Action for Parents of U.S. Citizens and Permanent Residents, which was launched in late 2014 through executive action by President Obama, which provides deportation relief and work visas to undocumented parents of U.S. citizens and permanent residents. What is the effect of continuing these actions? Well, we need to go ahead and pass legislation in regards to this. We know that we're not going to remove 2.1 million possible dreamers, and we're not going to remove all of the other 9 million undocumented individuals in America. We know this for certain. So we have to go ahead and provide legislation to take care of that. But what is needed before we even take care of legislation? We need Donald Trump's wall. We need Donald Trump's border security. And I say Donald Trump because that was his party platform. Because Donald Trump was his own party. Make no mistake. His party platform was to build a wall to secure America. And he's the only one that said it, and he said it loud. Now, will Mexico pay for it? I think that he doesn't mean directly. I mean, he means indirectly. And to give an example, the CEO of Tesla Grand Cherokee, a Jeep, I always mess it up. He stated that they're moving jobs from Mexico to America. That's another way that Mexico is paying for the wall. We have to look at this in practical terms. Don't take everything so directly. That there is ways to make Mexico pay for this wall. By taking jobs back and bringing them to America, Mexico will pay for this wall. So understand that's what he was saying. This wall is needed and more security is needed before we can even think about providing deportation relief, citizenship, legal resident status to the dreamers or to the parents of U.S. citizens and permanent residents. We have to secure our border, stop the leak first, and then we can provide legislation to deal with the issue of undocumented people in our country. There is a lot of noise on the Democratic side about what's going on here. Republicans aren't evil people. And I don't think Democrats are. I don't think libertarians are, or people of a different party. But the message is division. They want to divide you on the issue. Go and research what Republicans are saying about DACA, about DAPA, or what Donald Trump is saying about DACA, about DAPA. What Donald Trump is saying about the wall, what Chuck Schumer is saying about the wall. Because first he had this statement of, I'm going to provide the funds for the wall. And then he changes his mind. But Donald Trump's the only one who's wishy-washy. You listen to Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough. He calls himself a Republican. And I'm not here to call any individual out. I'm here to speak the truth. Joe Scarborough is a rhino, a Republican in name only. This guy sits on his liberal media platform and all he does is bash Republicans, but he says he's a Republican. That's the most insulting thing. If you listen to Morning Joe, you have a strong stomach. I do too. I listen to it every morning. But we have to understand that we have to secure our border first. And anyone who tells you that we need to provide legislation to protect illegal immigrants before we stop the leak, that's ridiculous. Who diverts water in their sink from spilling out without fixing the leak? I'm going to run the water over here, but the leak is still there. That doesn't make any sense. You stop the leak so you don't have to restructure everything. Just stop the leak, plug it first, all right, and then provide legislation. What does that legislation look like? Well, it says that you have to be in the United States for so many years, and you have to be of good character. There was not a religious test when you came to America to become a citizen. What the test is how do you add to our economy? The test was, how do you add to the fabric of society? What threads are you adding? So if we want to talk about the Dreamers, let's talk about what do the Dreamers provide for America? And not only that, what do the parents of U.S. citizens and permanent residents who are undocumented, what do they add to the fabric of America? You have to make that case to the people first. Are the Democrats making that case? I don't think so. Just like they did with 2008, you have to sign this bill to see what's in it. They are telling you all these things except what you actually need to hear. And make no mistake, if your representative isn't coming back to your state, to your hometown, and selling you on why we need this legislation, that person needs to be removed. He doesn't get to go to Washington and sit on the steps of the Capitol and make these broad statements and these broad claims about what we need concerning DACA unless he's come to the people or she's come to the people and asked you what your opinion is. And what is your opinion? Please let us know. You can hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, even our YouTube, or definitely our website, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com, and drop a comment. Let us know, what do you think about these undocumented individuals? Do they add to the fabric of America? Do they add to the economy of America? These things are the requirements for becoming citizens, whether you're undocumented or documented. If you do not add anything to our society, why should you be able to receive the protections and the privileges that are afforded to American citizens? Someone needs to make that case. And better yet, your politician, your representative needs to make that case. But how about we allow dreamers to make that case? How about we give dreamers a platform? Any dreamer in America, you can reach me. Here's my cell phone number, 813-516-6851. I want to tell your story. I want to talk about your plight. I want to know why you feel those that are in that group of undocumented individuals deserve to stay in America and receive the privileges. I'm not making that decision of should they or should they not. Feasibly, we have to keep them. We can't deport them all. That's just unrealistic. But why should it be the case that they should get this beautiful country's privileges? Because obviously Mexico doesn't provide the same privileges America does. We all know this. That's why they are here. And another thing we have to consider, the parents of dreamers decided to break the supreme law of the land to come to America. They decided that their quest, their search of a better life, their pursuit of a better life allowed them to trump the law of the land. Many people have used this plight to trump laws. The question is quite debatable. I would love your opinion, America. Is it a valid case that the search or the pursuit of better life, of happiness for you and your family, does that trump the supreme law of the land? If you support that view, then of course you're going to be behind the DACA. If you support that view, of course you'll be behind DAPA. But what if you don't support that view? It doesn't take away from the feasibility that we can't deport them, but it's still something we need to recognize, and it's still something that's going to play a part going forward. Does that search or that pursuit allow you to trump the law of the land? These are things that we need to be discussing. We don't need to be shutting down the government to discuss these issues, because appropriations is a requirement by the government, by the Constitution. That's not something that we get to debate on, of funding the government. That is something that is guaranteed and is a right of every American to make sure that all of the federal agencies are properly funded within our power. So any representative tells you that they had to shut down the government to protect illegal individuals, that person is not American. That person is not American. That person is a manipulator. What the proper term is, that person is a demagogue. What they want to do is sell you on some emotional dream. The dream is that America was founded on the Constitution. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Is it always right? Who knows? But that's the reason we have amendments, and that's the reason that Congress has the opportunity to amend laws to provide legislation to legalize the dreamers, to legalize their stance, to legalize their position, to provide them residency. We have that in place, yes, but we do not skip over funding the government to address this situation. That was a manipulation. When the Republicans did it back in 2013 to Barack Obama, how did the Democrats sell it to the American people? When the Democrats got on the Capitol Hill steps and professed all these things about they're shutting down the government. Well, they did it themselves right here in 2018. So tell me how your representative is going to spin it. Oh, we didn't want to provide Americans with services and resources because we wanted to protect illegal immigrants. Don't worry, I'll wait. I just don't understand it. We're getting away from American values. But hold on. What are American values? That's another thing we need to identify. Are they changing? Have they changed since 1775, 1776, 1778, 1796, 1804, 1808? Have these things been changing? Has the values, the morality of America been changing? Very much so. Very much so. If you want to know how the values of the American public have changed, look at who your representative is. What do they value? Most of you don't even know. If you don't know what your representative values, like I'm just going to put this point blank. You don't know because most people don't get to talk to their representative. How many people can raise their hand that's listening right now have spoken to Marco Rubio or Bill Nesson or let's see, any county commissioner or any mayor? How many of you guys have actually spoken to these people and understand what their values are? Understand what how they believe families should be raised? Because all these things do matter. Their values show up in their work. Look at their voting bills. Look at their voting records. It shows you what they value. I value Americans first over illegal immigrants. I'm going to say that. I value funding the government over providing deportation relief to illegal immigrants. What we must understand is their parents broke the law to provide them a better life, as they state. but their parents broke the law. Now, that was no fault of their own. But we have to understand these people are criminals. Oh, but it sounds so bad to call someone who is searching for a better life a criminal. But let me say it like this. If you are truly searching for a better life, like refugees are, they apply for refugee status. They apply for amnesty. Are these undocumented workers doing that? No. They're living their lives as undocumented, naturalized citizens. Even their children, they live as undocumented, naturalized citizens. They enjoy all the benefits of being American. Not all. Let me take that back. They receive a lot of benefits as American citizens. Healthcare, education, technology, access to information, access to immediate indulgences that we so love in America. These individuals who have broken the law, if the parent of a dreamer was sitting here in front of me, I would ask, why are you still undocumented if your kid's been here for 10 years? Can you answer that? Because if you came here searching for a better life and you knew what the laws of the land was, and you knew by bringing your child here, you would be stunting the future of your child. Do you understand that a lot of these kids don't even know that they're undocumented until they face an obstacle, or until they apply for college, or until they try to get some type of benefit? Yes, let's pass some legislation to legalize it. First, let's build a wall and protect our border. But let's not forget, the parents of the dreamers are the ones who sold them short, not America. America is not wrong for having immigration laws. America's not wrong for deportation. Barack Obama at no point tried to build a wall to secure our border. Barack Obama at no point called out the parents of the dreamers. I'm going to do that because it was wrong. Not wrong for them to search for a better life, but wrong for when they got to America, they did not apply for amnesty. They did not apply for citizenship. And people will say, well, they were afraid of being deported. So if you are afraid, that means that you get to what? Supersede the law because you have fear? What would America be if we only superseded laws out of fear? Stop making excuses. Yes, we have to address this issue, but let's be real about it. These people committed crimes when they crossed the border. They committed further crimes by bringing their children over and building a life here as undocumented naturalized citizens. But the greatest thing that they did, they sold their kids short by not being able to provide them with a true American life. Illegal immigrants, the children of illegal immigrants, get to watch documented Americans live productive lives, live successful lives, go to college. They can't do that because their parents decided that the fear of being honest about what they did trumped providing a secure American future for their children. And then now as American citizens, we have to provide that for them because we have to support our elected into passing this legislation. Pass the legislation, first build a wall. Call those out through truth. Now, here's a moment. Our sports minute. I want to talk about the upcoming Super Bowl, the Eagles and the Patriots. First of all, let this be known. I am biased. I want Tom Brady out of the league. I do not like cheaters. So let's put that out there. They did play a good game. I don't know if the balls were deflated against Jacksonville, but Blake Bortles played an amazing game. I lived in Jacksonville for 3.5 years, and they were not very good when I was there. And I was really proud of the performance they put up into the second half when they let Tom Brady put up almost 200 points. So go Eagles, go Eagles, go Eagles. Nick Foles, I've never been a fan, but this coming Super Bowl, I will be. Tom Brady doesn't need more rings. You know why? Because they have asterisks next to each one. You don't like it? I don't like it either. But it's the truth. You are listening to the voice of Young America. We're here to encourage and empower people, but only through truth. If we can't do that, let's not do it at all. Let's stop watching fake news. Let's stop watching manipulation. Let's stop being a part of this division and destruction. Check us out, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at The Voya Tampa Bay. We're going to make America better, better, better. But first, we're going to start thinking about America first and not partisanship. I'm Justin Austin, host of The Voice of Young America. When it comes to complete auto repair and fast service, check out the pros at Auto Lens Center, 1308 East Bush Boulevard in Tampa, providing professional quality work on all American-made and foreign car models. Great pricing on complete auto repair services, oil changes, and brakes. Auto Lens Center at 1308 East Bush Boulevard, where experience and good service go a long way. Call 813-764-7891. That's 813-764-7891. Auto Lens Center.
The voice of young America relies on committed Americans like you to stand with us. If you're frustrated with the lack of real information being delivered to the next generation, then support Justin's efforts. Connect on social media, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com, facebook.com/The Voice of Young America. The Voice of Young America. To inform with truth and broadcast collectively and respectively the diverse ideals of young America.
Finding skilled and unskilled tradesmen can be a problem, whether it's temporary or long-term. Rose Employment Solutions handles all of your workers' comp needs while responsibly solving your staffing problems. You make the call, they do it all. 813-644-5037. And for the quality tradesmen in search of career growth, full-time hours, and multiple pay options, call Rose Employment Solutions, 813-644-5037. Learn more at rose-emp.com or just stop by their office, 1020 West Bush Boulevard in Tampa.
Welcome back to The Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. Connect with Justin by email, thevoyatampabay@gmail.com.
A shooter opened fire at Marshall County High School in Benton, Kentucky on January 23rd. A total of 20 people were injured, 2 of whom died. The 15-year-old shooter was taken into custody. A 15-year-old girl was hurt in January 22nd shooting at Italy High School in Italy, Texas. A 16-year-old male was taken into custody. Aztec High School in Aztec, New Mexico on December 7, 2017, 21-year-old shooter kills 2 students and himself. On November 14, 2017, a 44-year-old gunman rammed a car into the gates of Rancho Tehama Elementary School, entered and killed 5 people, and wounded at least a dozen adults and children before authorities shot and killed him. A male student shot and injured a fellow student at Central Illinois High School on September 20, 2017. A 15-year-old student opened fire on fellow classmates at a Washington State High School on September 13, 2017, killing 1 and wounding 3 others. Cedric Anderson walked into the North Park Elementary School on April 10, 2017, and shot his estranged wife, Karen Elaine Smith, who was 8 years old. 2 other students were also struck before Anderson killed himself. These are just events in the last 10, 11 months. This is an epidemic. We know that school shootings are starting to happen more frequently. The fabric of society is threaded with love of one's fellow neighbor. The fabric of society is threaded with the love of children. Where's the love, America? The lack of love in our society is killing us. The lack of faith in our society is killing us. Quote, if all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports, let it be simply asked, where's the security for property, for reputation, for life, if the sense of religious obligations desert the oaths, which are instruments of investigation in courts of justice? And let us with caution indulge the supposition that morality can be maintained without religion. Whatever may be conceded to the influence of refined education on minds of peculiar structure, reason and experience both forbid us to expect the national morality to prevail in exclusion of religious principle. End quote. George Washington Farewell Address, 1796. Faith is not optional in threading a healthy moral fabric for America or any civilization. Let's look at this from a perspective of just being an American citizen. The fabric of our society is decaying, and I just gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 examples just from one perspective of the school shootings. Now, the reason I tell you this is because if you look at any building, any home that you live into, first it was an idea in the mind of a man, and then it was manifested into something physical that you can touch. Anything that is spiritual, created spiritually, will manifest itself physically. And I just gave you an example. Idea in the mind of a building, and then now you can touch and physically, it's tangible. It's tangible. And the thing of it is the guy who opened fire at Marshall County High School on January 23rd, it was in his mind first before he did it. Before it came to light, it was in his mind first. What's in the minds of Americans? Because what's in their minds is going to manifest in the physical. And what are we manifesting? Immorality, lust, hate, division. Turn on your local news. If you watch 5 minutes of the news, 30 seconds will be something that's pleasant. The other 4.5 minutes will tell you about all the disgusting things that American does. And, of course, there are news clips about this guy murdered this person, this person got raped, this person is missing, this child was abused. Oh, a man in Volusia County in Florida put his daughter in an oven while it was hot. Right now, this guy's on the run. They can't find him. Kid went home to her mother and said, "My father placed me in a hot oven." A society can be judged by the way it treats its children. How are we treating our children? Why is a 15-year-old spiritually in a mindset of evil? Well, when he goes to school, he feels that his teachers don't understand him and that they're teaching him things that aren't fruitful. His classmates are picking on him, making him feel less than a man. His parents have no spirituality, no morality. Oh, and yes, I'm attacking his parents. And the reason why? How can your son have such evil in his heart and you not know about it? Don't worry, I'll wait. It's no way possible that you have a loving relationship with your children and the next day they go and shoot up a school. There's no way possible. There's no way possible for that kid's parents to say, we sit down to dinner and we eat together. We pray together. We fellowship together. We do activities together. But Brian woke up one day and decided he wanted to shoot the school. When you turn on the television, when you listen to Morning Joe or Soledad O'Brien or Rachel Maddow or Rush Limbaugh, are we speaking about the virtues of America? No, we're only highlighting divisions. But we wonder why there's so much hatred. When Nancy Pelosi gets up there and she gives you that evil scowl and tells you about how bad Republicans are, or Donald Trump gets on his megaphone on Twitter and tells you that someone's stupid or someone's, an imbecile, or when the news tells you that Donald Trump is an imbecile and that he doesn't even know how to lead and that he's been led around by a 32-year-old staffer, or it just goes on and on and on. The fabric of America, look at it. So let's identify what's the fabric of America. We first start with the home. Parents aren't parenting. Children are raising children. Kids don't know their fathers. Mothers are overworked and can't spend time with their children. People go to church sometimes. Did you not hear George Washington? He said that you could not have a national morality excluding religion. I'm not telling you what religion to follow, but I did tell you last week, any religion that you do follow, that's an Abrahamic religion, will tell you to preach peace and love to your neighbor. So these parents are without religion. Yes, I'm calling out parents. If you're not sitting at home with your kids doing homework, I don't care if they're 16 or 2. If you're not at home teaching them how to pray, teaching them how to love, how will they do it? Oh, they're going to learn it at school, right? Where they've taken God out of everything. Yeah, that's how it's going to work. Send your kids to school to get babysat, and they will be educated and they'll become great human beings by not preaching love, by not teaching acceptance, by not understanding how to actually build a life with other people of different beliefs. How much of that is being taught in the home? It's definitely not being taught in the schools, but why not? Why is morality not taught in schools? Kids spend the majority of their active day in school, but none of it consists of character building. But, we expect kids to be amazing. So you get no character building at school, but you'll get ridicule. You'll get kids teaching, you have kids teaching other kids how to curse and what their private parts are in elementary. Let's go to the church. The church is a body of disciples, not a physical structure. But if you look at it, people are holy when they go to church, right? They go to church. They won't curse at church. They won't smoke on church property. They won't do all these things. But as soon as they leave, they'll smoke in their car. As soon as they leave, they'll start cursing. As soon as they leave, they'll start bad mouthing someone. They won't do it on church property, but they'll do it at home. You are the church. Wherever you go, you are holy. You represent Christ. You represent Allah. Whatever you represent. You represent that religion, that faith, that deity, wherever you go. So we have parents not parenting and teaching love, teaching kids how to act and how to integrate into society, how to be loving to their fellow neighbor. We have schools saying we can't touch religion, but at the same time, we're not going to touch character either. But kids are getting bullied. Kids are getting misled. But we can't do that, even though we know the parents aren't doing it. Now the school's not doing it. The church isn't doing it. Let's go to the government then. Is the government preaching love? Where? The only time you hear a politician speak about faith is after a school shooting. After a tragedy. Let's pray for them. That's when you want to pray, right? How about pray and prevention? Let's pray every single day that you can be a better person. Let's pray every single day that you could be a better child of God. Let's pray every single day that you can love your brother. Let's pray every single day that we will share our lives together through understanding and sacrifice. Tell me what politician right now is preaching cohesion, preaching love. And when I say preaching, I mean the display of their actions and the voicing of their opinions. America does not preach love. I just gave it. Business. Business won't touch faith. Business won't touch morality. Business won't touch character. Business won't do anything that might affect their bottom line. If they feel like it can affect how much money they will make this quarter, they will stay away from it. Michael Jordan, when they asked him to make a political statement back in the 90s, Michael Jordan said Republicans buy shoes too. So if we have the parents, the schools, the politicians, the churches, and the celebrities all staying away from morality, all staying away from good character, tell me how is a 15-year-old supposed to grow up in America? Let's continue this conversation on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on our website, the voice of young America.weebly. The VOYATampaBay.weebly.com. Check us out on social media at the VOYA Tampa Bay. I'm your star host, Justin Austin. I'm disgusted by America. And if you aren't, you're the problem. If you're not preaching love to your children, you're the problem. If you're not preaching love to your students, you're the problem. If you're not preaching love to your constituents, you're the problem. America won't be great by Donald Trump. America is going to be great when individuals realize no morality without faith. Be blessed.
You've been listening to The Voice of Young America with Justin Austin. The Voice of Young America relies on committed Americans like you to stand with us. If you're frustrated with the lack of real information being delivered to the next generation, then support Justin's efforts. Connect on social media, thevoyatampabay.weebly.com, facebook.com/The Voice of Young America. Email thevoyatampa@gmail.com. And be sure to join us next Saturday evening at 6 for the Voice of Young America here on AM 860. The Answer.